This podcast is brought to you by WTOE Radio at throughoureyes.org.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Let's go. Let's go.
Hi, this is Cheryl Echevarria of Echevarria Travel, your one-on-one travel agent making your travel dreams come true. Home of the independent traveler. Whether you're sighted, blind, or disabled, whether you use a cane, guide dog, or sighted guide, Echevarria Travel will get you there safely. Come and learn more about traveling independently.
Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go.
Hello, everybody, and it is November 6, 2013, and welcome to the Echevarria Travel Show with my co-host, Margo Downey from Buffalo. Hello, Margo.
Hi, Cheryl, and hi, everybody.
Good to have you back. We missed you last month on the show. This month, we're going to be honoring our veterans with our guest, Dwight Sayer, who's the president of the NFB, the National Federation of the Blind's National Association of Blind Veterans. That was a long title, but he'll be on after our 2-minute break. Also, at the 8:30 hour, we're going to have President Marion Gwizdala, president of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, and we're going to be talking to him about the issues with the airlines that have been going on, whether it's a guide dog user and sitting in areas other than the bulkhead area and traveling at the airports itself and with the TSA. And we'll get a little bit into the TSA Cares program that has been in place for a little bit. So, Margo, how have you been?
Doing well and just enjoying everything.
Wonderful. Now, we were listening to Dwight a little bit before the show went on, and it's 75 degrees and sunny in Florida, and it's pouring rain up here in New York, so we're going to have to stick it to him a little bit when he gets on the show. But I also wanted to bring up last month, the Travel and Tourism went on its very first fundraiser trip. We went to Utah and Las Vegas, and our December show will be all about that trip. So members of the NFB Travel and Tourism, members of the trip will be on the call giving their feedback, and we'll also be talking about the 2014 trip to Nashville. So we hope you all stay tuned for that as well. So we also had the NFB of New York State Convention in October, and we were talking about many things going on with travel up at the state convention. What I wanted to bring up before we even go any further, as I mentioned, I'm Cheryl Echevarria. I'm the host of the Echevarria Travel Show. I also own Echevarria Travel. I'm the president of our Travel and Tourism Division, and we're a live call-in talk radio show. To call in to speak to myself, Margo, Dwight, or Marion Gwizdala, please call 1-888-572-0141. And this radio station cannot be on the air without contributions from you, the listeners. And to send in a tax-deductible donation, just send in a check to the Northeast chapter of the NFB of New Jersey at 254 Spruce Street, Bloomfield, New Jersey, 07003, and put in the memo donations to the WTOE network through oureyes.org. So thank you for all the contributions so we can be on the air. When we come back from our 2-minute break, we'll be honoring our veterans and discussing with Dwight Sayer all about the National Association of Blind Veterans and also about the space available program to our disabled veterans. So stay tuned, and after a 2-minute break, we'll be back to speak to Dwight. Take care and come back.
Don't go anywhere. There'll be more show right after these messages.
Come with me, let's go.
And we're back. Our first guest on the phone is Dwight Sayer, who is the president of the National Association of Blind Veterans. Dwight, are you there?
Hey, Cheryl, I'm here.
I'm so glad to have you back on the show, and we're honoring our wonderful veterans tonight. Give us a little bit about who Dwight Sayer is, where you served, and how was the division started by you, or how long has the division been around?
Wow, that's going to be an interesting story. First off, let me say Monday is Veterans Day, and from all of the officers, board members, and members of the National Association of Blind Veterans, we want to say a big thank you to all our brother and sister veterans out there who have bravely served this great nation and in many cases put it all at risk. We also want to make sure that everybody thanks our active duty brothers and sisters that are serving as we speak, and make sure if you see them to thank them for their service, because it's because of our veterans and our active duty service personnel that we have the freedom and the ability to be on this radio show tonight and talking to all those good folks out there that are listening to us. So a big thank you from the NABV to all our brothers and sisters in the armed forces.
Well, we want to thank you as well. I mean, I'm a daughter of a Vietnam veteran. I have a granddaughter that's in the Marines, and right now she's stateside, but that, as we know, that can change any day of the week. Margo has been a chaplain. I don't know if she's not a veteran, but I know she is a chaplain. Margo, say hello to Dwight.
Hey, Dwight.
Hey, Margo, good to hear you.
Good to hear you, too.
But we want to make sure that we're very proud of our veterans in any war that we've had since, 1776 to today. And just want to thank you, Dwight, as well. So, again, give us a little bit about the National Association of Blind Veterans and how maybe some veterans listening to the show tonight can reach out to you guys.
Absolutely. The first off, I'm an Air Force veteran, medically retired after losing my sight in 1969, and the National Association of Blind Veterans was formed by me with the help of some really great people, Jim Worley, Kevin Worley's father, and Joanne Wilson, and a bunch of other folks who assisted me in the initial meeting where we met and formed the association in 2005. And it was kind of formed, it was formed for a couple of reasons, but the first reason was that in 2004, when I attended National Convention, I was not bubbling with enthusiasm about the amount of patriotism that I saw at National Convention, given that we were doing it over 4th of July week. And so after convention, I had written Dr. Bauer a letter expressing my dismay about the lack of patriotism, and it wasn't long after that he wrote me a letter back and asked me what I was going to do about it. So he challenged me with a task of, number one, helping us to find our patriotic arm again, and bring more patriotism to the National Federation of the Blind and to our conventions as well. And in the same token, formed the National Association of Blind Veterans so that we could make sure we were not only being patriotic, but honoring all of our fellow blind veterans that have served us so well, and we're members of the National Federation of the Blind, and then hopefully reaching out to some of those that aren't. So that's how it came about.
Dwight, first of all, I have to say I've been going to national conventions since 2006, so I didn't know. I'm not sure if that's the first year it started, but I have to say, for those that are out there that are listening, whether you're NFB members or not, whether you're sighted or not, when you come to our national conventions, I have to say, next to, of course, Dr. Mauer's opening the general session and all the great speakers we have, from Father John singing the national anthem and having all the veterans in the audience that served in foreign wars, and everybody gets introduced and what rank they are and what if they're Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, you start crying because you're so proud. So you guys do such a great job. We're doing that at National Convention, and it's one of the highlights that I see at convention, and you do such a great job. So can you give out the email, phone number, etc. for the organization so people can reach out to you?
Absolutely. The National Association of Blind Veterans has a great website. It's at www.n as in national, A as in association, B as in blind, and V as in veteran.org. That's NABV.org. And that'll take you to to an incredibly nice website that will load you up with all kinds of information, tell you about our officers, tell you about programs available, tell you about the 3 great centers that we have providing boot camp for the blind. You name it, it's on the website. How to get a hold of us. My email address is very easy. It's president@nabv.org. And if you can't reach me there, you can certainly give me a shout out at 321-948-1466. That's 321-948-1466. And we're just now doing we just redid our brochure, and we printed 30,000 of them. That about, I think, 26,000 of them are going to be mailed to veterans all across the state of Florida. It's a membership campaign that we're working on, and we're it's an experiment because we've never done this before, but we're certainly interested in seeing how it turns out after mailing out some 26,000 brochures talking about the organization, what we do, and how we serve our brother vets, and we do lots of stuff. We primarily educate a lot of veterans that get in touch with us about how to exercise their benefits, and how to reach out to those agencies that provide benefits to them, and how to stay persistent, as you might say, with some of those agencies that tend to not be too responsive right off the bat. And so a lot of guys, we actually run into a lot of blind vets that don't even know they have benefits through the VA. So we're out there slugging away every day, educating and helping our brother vets not only receive the benefits that they deserve, but to help them stay persistent to get through the melees of red tape and things that are thrown at them in trying to access those benefits.
Well, especially with you bring up the different benefits that are available to the veterans. I know last year, while we were at the Washington seminar, maybe you could bring all of us up to speed about the Equal Access to Air Traveler for Service Disabled Veterans, the HR 164 and the Senate 346. Give us a little history of it, and how far are we going, and do we people calling into our senators and House of Representatives to get it pushed forward?
Well, here's the deal on what we're calling. It's our Space A bill, and what Space A is that military, active duty, retirees, and other sundry personnel who have been assigned a priority code have access to space when it's available on military aircraft if it's going in the general direction that they want to go. And for whatever reason, we're not sure why, but in all of those priority codes that they set out, which goes at some length, and in some instances even includes Boy Scouts and Red Cross workers, they left out 100% service-connected disabled veterans from having a priority code on military aircraft for space available. And a couple of senators tried several times to move a bill to correct that through our Congress in years past, and I don't think they were very committed to it. They were just doing it because it might have seemed like the right thing to do, but then they didn't have enough time to put the work forward to make it happen. And so when I brought this to Dr. Mauer's attention, he said, let me talk to our legislative guys and let's see what we could do. And sure enough, the NFB team, along with the National Association of Blind Veterans, got two bills introduced, H.R. 164 in the House of Representatives. That one has already passed the House and has been added to the Defense Reauthorization Act. So H.R. 164 is basically not totally done, but where we're needing focus now is on S 346, which is the Senate companion version of the bill. I think right now we have about 20 senator co-sponsors on board. We really need to get some more senators on board so that it's a done deal. John Perret and Anil Lewis think if we can get a few more senators signed up to co-sponsor S 346, that we might be able to actually wrap this thing up in this year's Defense Reauthorization Act. So I'm looking for all my brothers and sisters out there and veterans, active duty, members of the NFB, anybody that can help to pick up the phone and call their senator in Washington and ask them to please sign on as a co-sponsor to Senate Bill 346. And if we get a few more senators signed on, that thing hopefully this year will be a done deal.
Dwight, this is Margo.
Yeah, Margo.
I'm wondering if you have contacted, say, DAV or other veterans groups because they're and seeing if they can come on board with this as well and maybe get more co-sponsors. Is this just an NFB project, or I'm wondering if other veterans groups could come aboard with it too?
We actually have several other veterans organizations that have agreed and are in favor of getting this passed. DAV is one of our biggest supporters. So we've got a number of organizations helping push this. One thing, it's really tough to get a bill introduced and passed in the same year. Mm-hmm. We're going to do it this year, and it's because of all of the support we've been getting from not only our organization, but the other veterans organizations out there, VFW and American Legion and DAV and our fellow brothers and sisters in arms. So, we're close. We just need a few more senators to sign on, and we'll have this thing wrapped up. So, please pick up your phone and call your senator and ask them to please sign on to S346.
And we'll have this information up on my website, the Echevarria Travel website, as well as my blog and on Facebook. So anything that is vitally important to anybody, whether it's the veterans here or anything that the NFB is doing, it will be posted on my blog, on the talk list of NFB, on my Facebook page. So we'll try to get as many people calling in as possible, Dwight.
We really appreciate it. It's just the right thing to do, and it's just amazing that it hadn't been taken care of in the past.
Do we know when the vote is up? When they go to vote on it, or not yet?
It's the idea is that if we can get enough Senate sponsors, that it will be added to the Senate version of the Defense Reauthorization Act, and they are suspecting that the act will be passed before the end of the year. Wonderful.
Let's all pray that we can get this done. And like Dwight said, next Monday is Veterans Day, so let's thank all our veterans out there. I know up here in New York, we're going to have a lot of veterans in New York City, and we try to go out by Eisenhower Park. There's a big veterans memorial out there. In fact, my father didn't pass away in Vietnam, but all his fellow brothers and sisters from his VVA chapter have memorials for those that passed away. So hopefully we'll be heading out to that park this weekend. Help put flags out, help, and just say, shake somebody's hand, give a veteran a hug. Remember, we wouldn't be here without them. Dwight, before we go, I just want to thank you again. If anything that the Echevarria Travel Show can help with getting the word out there about our veterans, whether it's traveling independently or just getting the word out to all our brothers and sisters who have fought to protect all of us, give me a call and we'll have you back on the show.
Cheryl, I thank you so much. God bless to you and your team and all of those that are out there listening to us. Yes, Monday is a very special day. Don't forget to thank a veteran, hug a veteran, give a veteran a big kiss. Whatever you want to do, make sure you run into a veteran. They know you appreciate them.
What are you planning on doing Monday yourself?
I'm going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on Monday, and I'll be there for the week working on a transit project, and I'll be probably looking to find out where some veteran celebrations are going on when I get in on Monday, and see if I can't make myself available at whatever ceremonies they have going on.
Well, you got to head up my way one of these days, Dwight. We got a great veterans parade here in Brentwood. We got a great VFW hall out here by me. Would love to introduce you to our local guys and to the Vietnam veterans out in Hicksville, where my dad belonged to. So come on out to Long Island and let's have you meet our guys out here and talk about the NABV.
You got a deal. I've been promising Father John Sheehan that I was going to get up to see him one day, so we'll have to see if we can't wrap that all together. So
that'll be great. Thank you again for coming on the show. Say hello to your wonderful wife, Patty, and we'll see you either in Washington, D.C. or at National Convention.
We'll see you at Washington Seminar, and thank you, Margo. It was great talking with you. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Dwight.
We're not going to break yet, but when we do come back, Margo is going to be talking with Marion Gwizdala about the issues that she had and a number of other people had while going to National Convention with the airlines. I also wanted to mention that coming up in January, the National Federation of the Blind is heading to Washington, D.C. for our annual seminar. So stay tuned to my blog and see all the issues we're going to be talking about, and hopefully that you will support us and call your senators and assemblymen to support what the National Federation of the Blind is doing to make blind people more independent, helping out in education, as well as bringing awareness to everybody about blindness itself.
Cheryl, also we need to mention very quickly the new DOT accessibility steps that need to be taken. The accessible kiosks that airlines need to provide and airports need to provide, things like that.
Well, why don't you speak a little bit about that, Margo, since I haven't given you much time to talk about anything tonight.
Well, the main, the Department of Transportation is coming up with some regulations for accessibility, and one of the most important ones is that kiosks where you can go print out your boarding pass and do other things in the airports need to be accessible to all, meaning that when the regulations are followed, blind people will be able to walk up to a kiosk and do whatever a sighted person would do at that kiosk, including printing your boarding pass so you don't have to go to the ticket counter and stand in a line with 80 other people moving slowly, checking luggage. You can just get your boarding pass, go on to security, go on to the gate. So that's one of the important things. They're also talking about ways to store manual wheelchairs. So if anybody uses a manual wheelchair, they can strap them across the seats now, as well as store one in the closet. So there's just I'm still kind of perusing all the regulations, and I will hopefully be attending a webinar next week on that subject.
Well, when we come back, we're going for our 4-minute break. When we come back, we're going to have the president of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, Mr. Marion Gwizdala. So stay tuned. And remember, we're a live talk show. Call in, 1-888-572-0141. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Keith Zhao, your announcer here at WTOE Radio Network. We're going to take a little bit long with this break to save our files for podcasts. So don't go anywhere, because there'll be more of the Echevarria Travel Show in just a bit.
Come with me, let's go. Come with me, let's go.
And we're back. We have a very big show tonight. And we just had Dwight Sayer on with the National Association of Blind Veterans. And now we have President Marion Gwizdala from the National Association of Guide Dog Users. Marion, are you there?
I am here.
I'm so happy you're here. Margo, say hello to Marion.
Hey, Marion.
Hi, Margo.
We are so happy to have you on the show. I know you were on the first time when I had Margo as my co-host. Now we have you all to ourselves for the rest of the half hour. We would like, first of all, to know all about Marion Gwizdala, a little bit of history of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, and then we'll go into some questions about the FAA and aircraft carrier and the airlines themselves.
Okay. All about me. Well, I am. I live in Tampa, Florida, where the high temperature was 80 degrees today. I have to say that and rub it into all the listeners who are not experiencing such wonderful weather.
Just like us.
I am a hypnotist in private practice, doing behavior modification programs, and I'm the president of the National Association of Guide Dog Users, which is a strong and proud division of the National Federation of the Blind. I've been president, I think, since 2008. I'm not sure. It seems to me I was elected in 2006 as vice president, and then in 2008 I was elected as the president of the organization. We've been on the move quite a bit recently. In fact, let's see, what day was it? Monday, I think, Sunday or Monday, I participated in the first teleconference board meeting of the Colorado Association of Guide Dog Users. So we've got a brand new division. We're establishing NAGDU divisions in states right and left. And, of course, there's one in New York and New Jersey and Oh gosh, I'm going to forget them if I try to remember them all. There's I think about 10 divisions right now, and 4 or 5 who are organizing, are in the committee phase, and will be organizing as divisions in the very near future. So looking forward to that, because that's the grassroots. That's where the real work of our organization is done. And we sponsor a hotline, of course, and we're going to be talking about that more during the show. But the NAGDU Information and Advocacy Hotline is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365 days a year hotline that you can call and listen to information about the rights and responsibilities of guide and other service animal users, and also have the opportunity to connect with a special advocate who's been trained to resolve access issues on the spot if such a thing happens to occur for you. And it's a very dynamic program, and I was just looking at the stats, and so far this year we have fielded over 1,400 calls to the hotline. So it's doing some good, valuable work, and I'm very proud of the organization and the members and the board of directors who make all of this come together and work well and make me look good.
Yes, and as you were mentioning, New York has a very strong division. In fact, Margo was our NIAGDU president. She's now vice president. Jessica Snyder has become our president here in New York, and I was elected to board member. So you have 2 members of the New York State Association of Guide Dog Users on the call with you. What I'd like to focus in tonight on is the recent issues that Margo and Julie Phillipson and Jessica experienced traveling to National Convention about, the I'm going to say uneducated airline employees or those that like to bully on the flights about, oh, you have to sit in the bulkhead area of the plane, and where that confusion comes from. So, Margo, I'm going to let you take over the conversation with Marion on this aspect. Margo?
Okay. Marion, first I'm going to just very quickly summarize what occurred for if anybody is listening who wasn't aware. Going to the National Convention of the NFB, National Federation of the Blind, in Orlando this summer, I and Julie Phillipson and Jessica had airline personnel. In fact, it was the same personnel, but different times of the day, who thought we should sit in the bulkhead and thought that if we sat anywhere else, our dogs would block the aisles. And I was told nobody should sit next to me because my dog would be in the way and it would cause him to block the aisle, and they just didn't seem to be aware of the Air Carrier Access Act too much. And Southwest Airlines did kind of understand where we were coming from to a certain degree. Julie Phillipson and I actually met with the airline managers at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport where this originated. And the airlines, everybody came but Delta, but we weren't surprised. But the airlines people said that people just assume there's more room in the bulkhead, and there might be. And that, but that they understood that it was a choice. What we asked them to do was to educate their gate agents better, because the flight attendants will often get off the plane and go cry to the gate agent about the recalcitrant passenger they have, which was me, especially that morning, and so the gate agents need to be more educated. So the commitment was made by the airport to do that. I would like to encourage people to meet with their airline managers at the airports about travel issues, whether they be even though the airline people only managers only deal with ground issues. those ground issues, the gate agents and other people need to be just as educated as the flight attendants should be about what the Air Carrier Access Act says. Marion, I'd like for you to talk about airline issues or any other travel issues that have to do with guide dogs that you can think of, hotels, whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. I fly quite frequently as well, and I've had very similar experiences as you. I remember one flight I went on. It was a short flight from Tampa to Jacksonville. I was on my way to my very first NFB convention, state convention, and I was traveling with a colleague of mine who was also a guide dog user, and we wanted to sit together, and we were told we couldn't sit together with our guide dogs because they needed to balance the plane. I was a little concerned when they said that because I didn't think that 160 pounds difference on one side or the other of the plane was going to really make that much of a problem and cause the plane to be imbalanced. So that worried me a little bit. But what you say is true. We are not required to sit in any specific place. Sometimes bulkheads do have more room. Sometimes they don't. It depends upon the airplane and its configuration. Some planes have walls between first class and the coach. Southwest, for instance, well, they don't have first class and coach. They have all coach, but they still have a bulkhead, and that bulkhead generally is a wall. And but some of them just have curtains, and in those cases, there is more room. One plane that Mary and I flew on, Mary's my wife, for those who are listening, we flew when we went to our convention in Jacksonville, we flew on a plane that had two bulkheads. And when they said they were going to put us in the second bulkhead, we were a little concerned. But when we got on the plane and we saw what it was a huge plane. I don't know how many it sat, but it did have two bulkheads, but there was no wall in the second bulkhead. And when we sat in the seat, there was, oh, good grief, had to be 6 feet between us and the seat in front of us. So there was a lot of room there. But it was our choice as to where to sit. The only restrictions we have is that we can't be obstructing the traffic going up the aisle. So it is suggested, but not required, that we take one of the inside seats, either the window seat, or if there's three seats, either the window or the middle seat. Not because we have to, but just because it is possible that your dog's paw could stick out and somebody may not see it and step on it. And so it's more a consideration for other passengers and your dog. But if you keep a good eye on your dog and you make sure that his feet doesn't go out in the aisle, there's no reason why you can't sit in an aisle seat too if you prefer to do that. So these rules that are made up are just that. They tend to be rules that are made up as they go along. And one of the best things that we can do is, when those things happen, to, one, be very polite, because if you're not polite, you're going to create a wall between you and the person, bigger than the bulkhead wall, that you're not going to get the information you want, and ask what the person's name is. Many times we get angry and we forget to ask, rightfully so we get angry. We just forget to ask important questions like, who is it? Who's telling us this? Because then when we file a complaint, we don't know who to complain about. We go, well, the flight attendant on this flight, well, there's 2, 3, 4, depending upon the flights. There could be more flight attendants on the flight. So we want to know specifically who that person is. Now, the other thing is that, and Cheryl, you may be able to tell me, I was trying to find out what the exact title of this person is, but every airport has a person who's specifically trained to resolve issues of disability. I don't know exactly. I think it's like a customer service representative of some sort, but that person has a specific title. And you mentioned the gate, the people at the gate, and the people who are able to resolve problems while you're on the ground. And most of these problems, they arise while you're on the ground. It's very rare that you get a problem once you take off. It's usually once you get on the plane, you're still on the ground, that's when the problems occur. So, the best thing to do is to stay calm and to know what your rights are, but to be assertive, because if you know what your rights are and they tell you that it's something different, you certainly can present your case a little easier if you know what you're talking about, and as I said earlier, you stay calm. That's the most important thing.
Skype went out, but I was trying to say prior to what you were asking me about the titles of people at the airport. It's usually a different person. It's not usually the same title, but I was trying to bring up the fact that, excuse me, at the airports now, especially with the TSA, they have a program in place called TSA Cares. Now, excuse me, I'm a little dry. That doesn't necessarily pertain with with the airlines itself. That has to deal with going through security. Hold on. I apologize.
You want me to put on show? Because it looks like you're going to ready to pass out.
Hold on, Margo, a second. I got to get some water.
TSA, I'll go ahead with TSA Cares. And Marion, I'd like you to talk about TSA in just a second, how to go through security. But TSA Cares is a program that you can call 72 hours ahead of time, 48, something like that. And I don't have the number in front of me. Cheryl probably does. But you can call them, and they can assist you through security. And Marion, I'm sure you have a few things to talk about, like the hand swipes and how to go through security the best way.
And that's true. The TSA Cares only deals with TSA, and not with anything to do with the Air Carrier Access Act or the airlines. They are a part of Homeland Security, and they make sure that our air travel is safe. That being said, there's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're traveling with your guide dog. One is, as you're going through screening and you're going to go through the metal detector, if you drop the leash and you call, this is what a lot of people do. They drop the leash, put the dog in a sit-stay, drop the leash, go through the metal detector, call the dog through. That's all well and good, but what happens is the dog, in most cases, with most harnesses, is going to set off the metal detector, and so the dog is going to have to go through some additional screening. And so they're going to do a pat-down of the dog. Here is a key issue. If when you call your dog through, if you touch your dog in any way, shape, or form after it comes through the metal detector, then you are going to be subject to additional screening as well, even if you don't set off the metal detector. So people, they reach down to grab the leash. As they reach down to grab the leash and the dog comes through, if they touch the dog, then the TSA agent is going to put you through additional pat-downs. So one of the best things to do is to put your dog at a sit-stay, go through, hold the end of the leash so you don't have to go looking for it, put it on a long leash, and then call the dog through. The hook at the end of most leashes is not sufficient enough, usually, to set off the metal detector. It's the amount of metal that's in the handle of the harness combined with the other snaps it's going to, but not just the snap at the end of the leash. Also, any passenger, service animal user or not, accompanied by an animal, in other words, even if it's your pet or your service animal, you go through TSA, they are going to go through and swipe your hands for trace explosive detection. There has been intelligence that shows that there is a credible threat from someone using an animal and explosives. And so when you go through, they're going to take a cloth, swipe your hand with it, and then they're going to put that through a trace explosive detector to see if there's any trace explosives on your hands. There's no chemical of any kind on that cloth. It is just a cloth that is designed to absorb the any trace explosives that may be on your hand.
Marion, before we continue, and I wanted to say one thing pertaining to what you just said as well. I use an insulin pump. Now, it may not just be somebody with a service animal, but anybody with any kind of external medical device like an insulin pump or something like that, they may do that as well, because they've done that to me. Lenny, our station manager, has a question for you. Lenny, go ahead.
Okay. It's a while back you were discussing something I'm just curious about. When you were talking, Marion, about airport, when the way that they deal with the blind or visually impaired while on an airplane. Now, I'm not blind, my wife is. But I'm very used to dogs, and I also know the capabilities. I would think, and I know for a fact, the average person doesn't even appreciate what a dog can do and how much help it really is. But that being said, when you talked about, well, if you're on the seat nearest the aisle, and if the dog's in the way, I can understand why a person that isn't visually impaired would be concerned if a dog was between them and escape. So I could understand all that. I guess what I'm trying to get to is, with all your experience, have you found that there is one airline or one or two airlines that they're more apt to know what the heck is going on and what should be done versus another?
Well, no, I don't. I fly a lot, but I generally fly the same airlines, and I have not had the experiences that others have had with that airline, including what Margo just described, because I have a frequent flyer card with Southwest, and I fly Southwest a lot, and I have never experienced an issue with Southwest. That's not to discount the experiences that others have had. It's only to say I've not had an issue. Although the other airline that Margo mentioned earlier that didn't show up at the meeting, I did have two experiences with them on a flight to Colorado a few years back. I was going on a ski trip, and in both ways I had an issue with a flight attendant on Delta Airlines. And it was interesting. I was talking to my brother-in-law, because my whole family went. I was talking to my brother-in-law about some of the ways that blind people are treated on airlines, and he said, "Oh, really? Those sorts of things happen? I just can't believe it happened." And as I'm going through the gate, I was carrying my guitar, and they put a ticket on my guitar. Well, first I got to the gate, and they said they asked my brother-in-law for my ticket. And he said, "I don't have his ticket. He's got his ticket. I'm standing with it in my hand." Then we went through the gate, and they gate checked my guitar, and they handed my sister my gate check. And my brother-in-law looked at me and said, "Well, I guess you're right. People do treat you differently because you're blind."
Yeah, well, I mean, personally, people talk to me. I take my wife to go get makeup, and the girl asks me about her makeup. You know, it's my wife that's getting the makeup, not me. I'm fine. I don't need makeup. No.
Right.
right, but thank you very much.
I tell this story a lot. I was at a restaurant one time with my daughter when she was 5 years old, and the waitress looked at her and said, well, what would he like to drink? And she looked at her, and she was raised in the Federation. She looked at the waiter and waitress and said, I don't know. You have to ask him. I'm only 5.
Yeah, we get that a lot. Marion, we got about 5 minutes left of the show. Why don't you talk about the call-in, the helpline for NAGDU?
Oh, yes. The NAGDU Information and Advocacy Hotline. Rather than tell you what it does, I'll just let people experience it. Again, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was established by a grant from the National Federation of the Blind Imagination Fund, and is supported through the efforts of the California and Florida Associations of Guide Dog Users and a company called Twilio, which just gave us a $500 grant to pay for the service itself. The number's really easy. It's 800. No, it's not 800. It's 888 888 NAGDU 411 888 NAGDU 411, which translates to 888-624-3841. The last number is extraneous because it's an 8th number, or I guess an 11th number. So give it a call, use it, listen to what's there, and let other people know about it too. And there's a lot of great information about service animals and guide dogs and the rights and responsibilities of guide dog users in places of public accommodation, including restaurants and taxi cabs and hotels and air carriers, which are governed by the Air Carrier Access Act. So call it, listen, and that's what's going to help us maintain our good funding, is when people use it and we get all these calls to it.
Well, Marion, I appreciate you coming on the show. I think we lost Margo a little while ago, but I want to thank you again for coming on the show. I look to have you on the show in the future, because traveling independently, whether it's a cane or a guide dog or a sighted guide, I'll be having you on again as a guest with any travel-related issues, or if you want to discuss anything related to traveling with a guide dog, we'll be having you back on the show.
Very good. I look forward to it.
I look forward to talking to you soon, and have a great night, and thank you again for coming on.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work up there in New York. Y'all are doing a fine, fine job. All y'all are.
Thank you, Marion.
Take care.
And Margo, I want to say thank you again for being my co-host. We will see you guys. We'll see everybody in December, and we'll be talking all about the Travel and Tourism's first fundraiser trip that we did. So we'll be having officers from the NFB Travel and Tourism on the call, and people that actually went on the trip. So thank you again for listening in tonight, and listen to all our shows that air 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights. And thank you again, Lenny. Have a great night, everybody.
The Echevarria Travel Show is brought to you by Echevarria Travel, home of the independent traveler since 2009, specializing in worldwide destinations for the blind community. For more information on Echevarria Travel, call Cheryl at 631-456-5394 or email her at reservations@echevarriatravel.com. All words, ideas, and contents expressed on this show are those of Cheryl Echevarria and not necessarily those of the National Federation of the Blind, the Northeast New Jersey chapter, or the WTOE Internet Radio Network. Until next time, I'm Keith Zally.
Let's go. Cruise like a Norwegian.
The previous WTOE radio podcast is a commercial-free version of our live broadcast, brought to you every Wednesday evening starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at through THRU, OurEyes.org.